Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings and Yahoo for Tuesday, May the 11th. We got a big Tuesday slate. We got 11 games to break down. As always, guys, on these big slates, I do try and go a little bit quicker than normal. There's definitely going to be games we do spend a good amount of time on, but there's also going to be some games that we just kind of fly through, so as always, we're going to go through each game, talk about each team, but I will go a little bit quicker than I normally do just because we have a lot of games to break down and I don't want this video to be too long. But before we get started, as always, would appreciate it if you would click that like button down below, and if you are new to the channel here, be sure to click that subscribe button as well. Also hit the notification bell so that way you do get notified every time I upload, and you also do get notified every time I live stream. Once again, I should be live this afternoon, Tuesday afternoon, sometime around 4:30 Eastern. If you guys do want to come and hang out, I'll be breaking down the slate, answering all your questions in the live stream as always. So be sure to tune into that. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and check out my Patreon content link down below as well. If you do really enjoy these YouTube videos, if they help you out a lot, you want to get more content from me, you want to see more that I have to offer, you can check out the Patreon link down below. I do have a lot of additional stuff I post there. My updated core plays are posted on Patreon. I list off my favorite plays at each position. I do like a little sheet where I basically list off my favorite plays at each position, like I said. And then I also have a Discord chat that's available for Patreon members where I'm in there throughout the day to answer questions. You can answer me or ask me any lineup questions or any slate specific questions. I'm in there throughout the day up until lock and even after lock. If you have any late swaps you want to make and you want my opinion on them, I can always answer those in the Discord. So if you want to check out some of the stuff I have to offer on Patreon, you can do so. Link down below in the description. But let's go ahead and take a look at Tuesday's big slate. We'll start off with the Denver and Charlotte game. So on the Denver side, this is a team I have some interest in, mainly, with Nikola Jokic. 11K, I think Jokic, looks like one of the better stud options on the slate. I'm pretty sure Denver does still have something to play for. They're going to continue to run their starters, pretty big minutes, as long as the game stays close. That is something important we'll need to keep an eye on, this final week of the regular season. There are going to be some teams that really don't have anything to play for. Some of these teams, when they lock up their playoff seeding, you might see limited minutes for starters. You might see some starters get rested. I'm pretty sure right now, though, I don't keep up with the standings probably more than I probably should keep up with the standings, but I really don't. I'm pretty sure Denver does have something to play for. They're going to keep trying to, win games. So we should get 36, 38 minutes from Jokic here if this game is close. The matchup against Charlotte, I think, is a pretty favorable one for Jokic. Whether they put, PJ Washington or Bismack Biyombo, whoever they put on Jokic, it's going to be a mismatch. On a big slate, we're likely to have a lot of value open up. I think Jokic is one of the best pay-up options for sure. There are some other studs we'll talk about, but I definitely like Jokic on this slate. And then outside of Jokic, I don't know if I'm going to be going to too much else on Denver in terms of like core plays. Like a Campazzo you can maybe get to. He's played really well lately, but on a big slate, I don't think Campazzo is really someone that stands out as a top option for me. Austin Rivers, he did start last game. He played 35 minutes. If he starts again, you can maybe go there for value. But again, it's a big slate. We're probably going to have better value open up as the day goes on. Really, I think Jokic is the guy that stands out most from Denver. And then, Campazzo, Rivers, if he starts again, these are just kind of secondary plays. Now on Charlotte, I don't see too much I really like on Charlotte here. LaMelo on this slate, I don't think I'm going to play. There's just other guards I'd rather get to than pay $8,700 for LaMelo and the mediocre matchup against the Nuggets. Like, I just don't really like much from this Hornets team. Against Jokic, they're probably going to need somebody like Bismack Biyombo to play big minutes. Now, his minutes have kind of been all over the place, but the last two games that he started, he has played 32 and 26 minutes. Like I said, they're going to need his size out there. I mean, they can't really play small against this Denver team. You're going to need to put Bismack or Cody Zeller or PJ Washington. Like, one of those guys is going to have to be on the floor to try and defend Jokic. So we might get around 30 minutes from Biyombo, which makes him a decent value. But again, I think there's going to be better value opening up as the day goes on. Really, my main interest in this game is Jokic, and that's probably it. Now, next one, we got Minnesota and Detroit. On Minnesota today, Karl-Anthony Towns at 10,200. In a good matchup against Detroit, has upside, but on this slate, I think there's going to be other pay-up options I do prefer. Jokic I like over Towns. We're going to talk about Sabonis, who I really like today. You have Luka on this slate as well. Even if you want to go to Giannis, you could go there. I don't think I'm going to be paying up for Towns. I think I would rather just get to Jokic, but I do expect Towns to be pretty low owned. So if you want to play him in tournaments for the low ownership in a good matchup, I don't mind it. D'Angelo Russell, he's been starting recently, been getting pretty big minutes. Only played 30 last game, but a lot of that was due to blowout. He still was really productive though, had 47 DK points in 30 minutes. the price is getting up there. He's almost 8K now, but we're going to get probably 35, 36 minutes from D'Angelo Russell here. With him starting, I feel good that he continues to get those big minutes. A matchup against Detroit, I think, is a pretty favorable one. Even though Detroit plays relatively slow, they're just not a good defensive team. So Cat in tournaments for low ownership, D'Angelo Russell in tournaments for low ownership. I think both those guys make some sense. Jared Vanderbilt did start last game. He played 22 minutes, also lost minutes due to blowout. He was pretty popular last slate. I don't think he's going to be nearly as popular today. If he does start again, he probably plays around 30 minutes. At 4,600, he does feel priced appropriately, though. He doesn't really stand out as much, as the last two slates when he was 4,100, when he was 3,300. Now it's a bit different. He's 4,600. Not as good of a value play, but at least still viable. I don't think there's going to be any core plays from me, though, from Minnesota. Really just, secondary options. I didn't realize this, but Jaden McDaniels is going to play today, so that's actually meaningful. Now that Jaden McDaniels is expected to play, I thought he was out. With him expected to play, I would be off of Vanderbilt. Unless they start Vanderbilt again, you could maybe go there. But yeah, now that McDaniels is expected to play, definitely have no interest in Vanderbilt. So really, it's just Cat and Russell, and I think that's probably it from Minnesota. Now on the Detroit side today, Detroit is going to be resting a lot of their guys. No Jeremy Grant, no Mason Plumlee, no Corey Joseph. Josh Jackson is currently questionable. Frank Jackson is also currently questionable. These will be two injuries to keep an eye on. And then we know Diallo and Wayne Ellington are out. McGruder, Dennis Smith Jr. also remain out. So right now the Pistons have, I believe, assuming that Josh Jackson and Killian Hayes both play, they will have, I think they'll have about 10 bodies or 9 bodies. So they'll still be relatively healthy. But if Josh Jackson gets ruled out, if Frank Jackson gets ruled out, then this team does become pretty shorthanded. Then they will be really thin on bodies. Then we could start to look to some of these Detroit guys for value, like someone like Saben Lee. If Josh Jackson and Frank Jackson are both out, I would really like Saben Lee for value. I'd assume he would start if those guys were to get ruled out. Killian Hayes had a really good game last game, played 38 minutes, had 39 DK points. With no Corey Joseph, I'm assuming that he starts again at point guard. Probably gets around 30-plus minutes. He hasn't played a ton of minutes even when he started. Like normally he only plays around 30 to 32. But it was good to see him play 38 last game. If Frank Jackson and Josh Jackson both are out, I would feel good that we get big minutes from Killian Hayes once again. But if these guys play, if we have Josh Jackson in, Frank Jackson in, I don't know if there's going to be any standout plays from Detroit. Like Sadiq Bey and Isaiah Stewart have both been priced up to a point where I don't think they really stand out on a big slate like this. Josh Jackson, if he's in and he's not limited and he's starting, he could maybe be someone to consider because without Jeremy Grant, there will definitely be more usage available for Josh Jackson. But really, I think it's just a wait and see from Detroit. If Josh Jackson and Frank Jackson both play, I don't see too much I like on this team. But if they're out, I would definitely be looking to the backcourt guys. Killian Hayes, Saben Lee, I would like quite a bit if those two guys are out. Saben Lee, I'm pretty sure, did start the second half last game. He did play 32 minutes. He might start regardless. If he were to start again, or if he were to start here, I would like him a lot. But that's just news we've got to wait and see on. So next game, we got Miami and Boston. I'm pretty sure this is a game that has a lot of seeding implications. So we should be seeing big minutes for the starters here from both teams. Now this is a game I don't have a ton of interest in, even with that being the case. Just because these are two, pretty good defensive teams. They both play relatively slow. I don't expect this to be a very high-scoring game, but you will get big minutes from, Jimmy Butler, from Bam Adebayo. You could obviously play them in tournaments. I think Jimmy would be the guy I'd more likely go to just because he's small forward, and, small forward's always a pretty tough position to fill. These two teams did play on Sunday. Jimmy played 40 minutes, had 57 DK points. I think he's a good tournament option. He'll be really low owned. If you want to go there, I don't mind him. But really, he's the only guy I think I'm going to look to from Miami. Outside of Jimmy, I don't see a ton that really stands out here. Now, on the Boston side, we do know that Jaylen Brown is going to be out for this game, and I'm pretty sure he's going to be out for the rest of the season, which kind of sucks because I don't think he's going to play in the playoffs either, which really sucks. But with Jaylen Brown out, Jason Tatum, Kemba Walker, we know are the two biggest beneficiaries. At their price points, neither one are like core options for me on this slate, but I think they are, again, guys that are viable for tournaments. They should both be pretty low owned. Tatum's the one I think I like the most. At 9,700, that is kind of cheap for Jason Tatum. We've seen him be priced up above 10K for a while now. He's had two back-to-back, relatively mediocre games, but with the price coming down, even in a tougher matchup, I think Jason Tatum, without Jaylen Brown, he definitely benefits and is someone that you can go to in tournaments for low ownership. Same with Kemba Walker, although Kemba I'm not as high on. At his price tag, I would rather play Tatum, I think. Evan Fournier, do want to mention, he had a massive game last game, and when these teams did just play on Sunday. Evan Fournier had 51 DK points in 35 minutes. He shot the ball really well. I don't know if we can expect that type of production to continue from Fournier, but it's pretty clear that without Jaylen Brown, he's going to be a starting, shooting guard for them, and he's going to play around 35, 36 minutes a night. Evan Fournier is not someone I really enjoy rostering just because he's really scoring dependent. I mean, if he's not knocking down shots, we can see him put up, pretty bad games, but the opportunity is there right now. The minutes have been there. He's getting, shots up 10, 14, 11, 16 field goal attempts these last 4 games. For 5,400, he's probably my second favorite play from Boston behind Jason Tatum. I think Tatum and Fournier are the 2 guys I like most. Robert Williams is doubtful. You could maybe go to Tristan Thompson, but Tristan Thompson we've seen, is not the best point per minute player. He did start last game, but, even in 32 minutes, he only had 18 DraftKings points. I just don't think I'm going to play Tristan Thompson on a big slate like this. It's really Tatum and Fournier, the 2 guys I like most from Boston. But next game, this is probably the game that stands out most for me, mainly on the Toronto side. On the Clippers side, I don't see a ton I really like from the Clippers here. You have Kawhi and you have PG at the top. Both kind of feel a little bit too cheap. PG's 8,900, Kawhi's 8,300. Again, I don't know if these are guys I'm going to be jamming in on this slate, though. There's going to be other studs I prefer. This definitely is going to be a stars and scrubs slate, if I had to guess. The later we get in the season, like I said, you're just going to see value open up. You're going to see guys get rested. There's going to be value plays. So I don't know if I'm going to be paying for Kawhi or PG today when it's likely to be easy. It's going to be likely to pay up for multiple studs above 10K, like Sabonis, Jokic. You're going to be able to fit probably 2 of these guys, if not 3 of these guys today, depending on what type of value opens up. I don't think I'm going to get to Kawhi or PG. If I were to play anyone on the Clippers, it'd be one of those 2 guys. But on this slate, I don't think either one are like top options for me or priorities. But on the Toronto side, this is where we get a lot of appeal. Toronto is going to be without a ton of guys today. No Pascal Siakam, no Fred VanVleet, no Kyle Lowry, no OG Anunoby. So basically, 4 of their 5 starters are going to be out today. We do know Rodney Hood and Paul Watson will both be out off the bench as well. So right now, Chris Boucher is questionable. That'll be something to keep an eye on. If Chris Boucher plays, that leaves Toronto with, I believe, 10 healthy bodies. They would have Boucher, Birch, Trent, Flynn, Bembry, and then Utah, Johnson, Gillespie, Harris, and Baines. We'll note, though, that Aaron Baines has basically been out of this rotation. He hasn't played in like over a month or so. It's been a month since he last touched the floor. Even if he play or he's active, he's not on the injury report. I know he's been out with an injury lately, but even when he's been healthy, like he hasn't been playing. I mean, he was healthy like middle of April and he wasn't playing. He wasn't in the rotation. It seems pretty clear they want to play Freddie Gillespie over him. Gillespie's basically been the backup center so far. So I don't think Aaron Baines is going to play. I just don't think he's in the rotation right now. So basically we're going to have 9 bodies for Toronto if Boucher is in. If Boucher is out, maybe you would see Aaron Baines get into rotation, but they might still not even play him. We might only see 8 active bodies for Toronto. So this is going to be a shorthanded team. There is a lot to talk about from the Raptors here. Boucher will start off with, if he plays and he's not limited, I think he's a pretty good tournament option at 6,800. He hasn't played in about 3 weeks now. He's been out with an injury. He is questionable, so this will be something to monitor. At 6,800, I don't think he's going to get a ton of ownership at this price point, especially coming back from an injury. It's always tough to feel confident in guys when they're coming back from injury, but we know the kind of upside that Boucher has with all these starters out, with all the high-usage players out. I mean, there's going to be a ton of opportunity available for Boucher. We've seen him put up massive games whenever, Lowry, Siakam, VanVleet are all out, so Boucher I would like in tournaments if he is active. On Yahoo, though, that's where we really need to talk about Boucher. I don't exactly know why, but Boucher is minimum salary on Yahoo. I'm pretty sure whenever guys get injured, like Yahoo always puts guys at minimum salary, and then they'll put their price back to normal whenever they return. But I guess Yahoo was kind of slow to adjust the price on Boucher. I guess we didn't expect him to return this quickly. I'm pretty sure he was just out, like he had been out for a while. They basically just said he was out indefinitely, and then he pops up and he's questionable, so he has a chance to return today. If Boucher plays, like even if he's on a minutes limit, I think at minimum salary on Yahoo, he's going to look like one of the best plays of the day. And if he's not limited, if we get Boucher starting with no minutes limit, I mean, he's a lock for me on Yahoo at minimum salary. On Draftkings, obviously, at 6,800, it's a bit different there, but I would still like Boucher on DK, assuming there's no limit on him if he plays today. Kim Birch, though, I think does benefit with all these guys out. He's been, when it comes to minutes, he's been relatively safe with the minutes. He should get around 30 minutes here. His price has come up to 6,200, so I don't think he stands out as like a top play today, but at least still viable. Malachi Flynn, though, is a guy that I really like. Without Lowry, without Van Vliet, we know we're going to get big minutes from Malachi Flynn. Only played 26 last game, but I would assume that we probably get around 30-plus minutes from Flynn here. That does feel like a bit of an outlier. I'm not exactly sure why he only played 26 minutes, maybe because of foul trouble. I don't exactly know. He did have 4 fouls in that time, but no Lowry, no Van Vliet. I think we get Flynn starting, playing 30-plus minutes for 5,300. He should average around a fantasy point per minute. We've seen Flynn be really productive whenever Lowry and Van Vliet are both out, so really like Malachi Flynn today. He's one of the standout plays from Toronto for me. Super cheap on Yahoo. I like him a lot over there at $12. Then Gary Trent at 6K. I think you could also look to more of a tournament option, but we know Gary Trent has upside. He's super scoring dependent, but I mean, you look at the shot volume these last few games, 16 shot attempts against the Wizards, 20 shots last game against Memphis. He shot the ball terribly as well, like 25% from the field, 25% from 3. If he knocks down like half of his shots, like 50% of his shots, I mean, he's probably putting up 40-plus DK points last game. So Trent, he's scoring dependent. It's always scary to roster guys that are scoring dependent, but it's pretty clear the minutes are going to be there for him. He's played 36 minutes in back-to-back games, probably plays 35, 36 minutes here if this game stays close. No Lowry, no Van Vliet, no Siakam. There's going to be a lot of usage for Gary Trent. I do like him a lot at 6K. Him and Malachi Flynn, I think, are really good plays, and then we can talk about some of the value, so we'll have to wait and see what they do with the starting lineup. I'm assuming that one of Bembry, Utah, or Johnson would start. Utah did start last game. Obviously, Boucher was out then. Siakam did play. I'm assuming that if Boucher plays, then we basically just get the same starting lineup as last game, except Boucher would be replacing Siakam, obviously. So Utah, if he starts again for 3,500, he hasn't really been that productive on a point-per-minute basis lately. But obviously, without Lowry, without Van Vliet, without Siakam, I mean, there's going to be a lot of opportunity available for Utah. This is someone that can be productive when he does get minutes, at least whenever he's not having to play alongside those stars. Siakam did play last game, but now Siakam is out as well. So I do like Utah Watanabe at 3,500, assuming he does start again. I think he plays probably 30-plus minutes and looks like a pretty strong value on DK. And then DeAndre Bembry, there's a chance that he maybe starts as well. We don't exactly know. If Boucher is out, then they probably do start Bembry alongside Utah. They would probably go with Flynn, Trent, Bembry, Utah, and then Birch as a starting lineup. Obviously, if Boucher plays, then Boucher will probably start at power forward, and then Utah will take the place of Bembry. But yeah, there's a good chance Bembry starts. Even if he doesn't, he probably will come off the bench and still play at least like 20 to 25 minutes. He played 20 last game, and that was with Siakam in. That was also with Rodney Hood playing. So now there's no Siakam, there's no Rodney Hood. I'm expecting around 25 minutes for Bembry, maybe more. If he starts, I would feel better about his minutes. At 3,700, point guard and small forward eligible on DK. I think he also looks like a really good value from this Toronto team. And then Stanley Johnson should get a few more minutes as well. Now, Stanley Johnson, not the most productive player, but there's going to be more opportunity for him as well. I think he's viable too. Jalen Harris, I do want to mention. I don't know exactly what kind of minutes he gets today, but last game he did play really well off the bench. Played 29 minutes, had 32 DK points. He's more of a GPP flyer. I don't know if he's someone I'm going to go to like in cash games or anything unless he starts, which I don't think is going to happen. But if you want to go there in tournaments, hope he gets hot off the bench again, you can maybe go there in GPPs. But I think my main interest from Toronto, it's going to depend on the starting lineup, but I think Flynn, Bembry, Utah are the 3 guys I like most. Boucher at minimum salary on Yahoo I like a lot. I think he's still viable on DK. I like Gary Trent a lot as well. So we'll have to wait and see the starting lineup. If Flynn should start, but if Utah and Bembry both start, I like them a lot for value. If only one of them starts, then whichever one does, I like for value. Trent I like in the mid-range. So yeah, there's a lot to like from this Toronto team. They're going to be super short-handed today. Definitely going to probably want to play at least a couple Raptors on this slate for sure. But that does it for this game. Moving on to the next one, we got the Sixers and the Pacers. On the Sixers side today, we're going to need to monitor the status of Joel Embiid. This is pretty big news. He is currently questionable. He did play their last game, which is the second half of back-to-back, but he did play limited minutes. It was a blowout, but he still only played 23 minutes. He would have probably played around 30 to 32, but they were pretty clearly limiting his minutes last game. He subbed out early for Dwight Howard. Like, they were clearly like keeping it easy on Embiid, which is a worry. I mean, I'm pretty sure the Sixers are another team that has like their playoff seeding locked up. Don't quote me on that, but I don't think the Sixers can really move up or down in the standings. I think they do actually hold the 1 seed right now, and I don't know if they're going to get caught with the ones. Like, I don't know if there's a team, like, I don't think Brooklyn could catch them. Like I said, I don't really keep up with the standings, but I wouldn't be surprised if Embiid rests here. I mean, I don't think they're going to push him if they don't really have to. Clearly, he was limited last game on the back-to-back. Even if he plays today, they can maybe like limit him again. I'm worried about these Philly guys just because I don't think they're going to play 36, 38 minutes a night moving forward. I think they're going to start to lessen their minutes a little bit, as the playoffs approach. So I really don't like much from Philly. The only way I'm going to go to any Sixers today, I think, is if Embiid gets ruled out. And if Embiid does get ruled out, then we could definitely look to Tobias Harris. We could look to Ben Simmons. We could look to Dwight Howard for value. Only way I'm going to any Sixers today is if Embiid sits. And then in that case, I would look to those guys that we just mentioned. But if Embiid plays, I don't really see much I like from the Sixers. Now on the Pacers side, there is a good amount to like here. Malcolm Brogdon was questionable on Monday. He did not play. This is a back-to-back for the Pacers. I'm assuming that Brogdon remains out. I mean, he's been out for like 2 weeks now. He's been out for a while. I'm assuming that Brogdon just remains out here. So if Brogdon is out again, I mean, we know who's going to dominate the usage on this team. Sabonis and LeVert just continue to crush on a nightly basis. Sabonis had another monster game on Monday night against Cleveland. Played 39 minutes, had 72 Draftkings points. He was 1 assist shy of a triple-double, had 21, 20, and 9. LeVert also had a decent game, if I do believe. He had 44 DK points in 37 minutes. So, yeah, I think if Brogdon sits, these are the two guys we can definitely look to. And Sabonis is a tough fade right now. Like, he's just playing so well, getting monster minutes. That's one thing that's, important. This Pacers team, they do have something to play for. They're clearly running their starters big minutes right now, and I think that does continue here. We should get around 40 minutes from Sabonis if this game does stay close. Now, the matchup against Embiid is not great, but if Embiid were to sit, that would definitely make me feel a little bit better about Sabonis. But Sabonis is such a productive player overall. He's just so good that I don't really get too worried when it comes to matchup for him. As long as he stays out of foul trouble and this game is close, I think we get around 40 minutes from Sabonis. He's been so productive lately. He's one of my favorite studs for sure on the slate. I do like him a lot on Yahoo as well. Coming in at $48 at power forward. There's plenty of value on Yahoo, as you can already tell, with Flynn, with Boucher. It's going to be easy to get to Sabonis. I think he is a top value for me, or top play overall for me on Yahoo. So yeah, if Brogdon's out, Sabonis and LeVert I really like. If Brogdon plays, I don't have any interest in LeVert, but I would still think Sabonis would be viable. But like TJ McConnell, I don't think I'm going to go to, even if Brogdon's out again. He's going to play probably 28 to 30 minutes off the bench. If you want to go there, I think he's fine, but I'm probably just going to be sticking to the top two guys, and that's really it from this Pacers team. So moving on to the next game, we got Dallas and Memphis. Now on Dallas today, we already know that that Porzingis is going to be out again. We have Luka at the top for 10,800. Luka's another stud I'm looking to pay up for today. Again, it's a big slate. There's going to be value that opens up already. I mean, we already have value, but I'm sure there's going to be more value open up as the day goes on. I think Luka's one of my favorite studs along with Sabonis. And Luka, normally not a guy I really play often. I played him last slate and he killed me. He got ejected last game. Only played 22 minutes, had 32 DK points, but I do like going back to Luka here. The matchup against Memphis is relatively good. Pretty sure Memphis is playing at a pretty fast pace this season. Dallas, they have been playing relatively slow, so this is definitely a pace-up spot for them. Dallas, another team I think that is playing for, they're playing for something. They're going to run their starters big minutes. We should get 36, 38 minutes from Luka here if this game stays close. Without Porzingis, I don't know if that really affects Luka too much. Maybe his usage gets a little boost. His fantasy production overall has relatively stayed the same with Porzingis off the floor, but I still do like Luka. He's up there with Sabonis in terms of favorite pay-up options for me. I think he does look pretty good on Yahoo. If you want to play him over there for $53, I think he looks like a pretty good stud option on Yahoo as well. We're going to talk about Anthony Davis, who I think remains too cheap on Yahoo, but I definitely do like Luka over on Yahoo as well. But outside of Luka, there's really not too much else I like on Dallas. I think it's just Luka for me, and that's probably it. Now on the Memphis side, this is a back-to-back for Memphis, so keep an eye on that. But Memphis, I think, is another team that, they're fighting for playoff seeding, so they're running their starters big minutes. I would expect that everyone plays here. Maybe Jaren Jackson Jr. will rest because, he's been coming back from injury. He did rest on their last back-to-back, I do believe. So maybe he doesn't play. But outside of that, I don't think that would affect too much. Maybe, you get a few more minutes for J-Val. If I'm going to play anyone from Memphis today, it is going to be Morant and it is going to be J-Val. Morant, didn't have that great of a game on Monday night against the Pelicans, only 37 DK points in 35 minutes. I don't like playing John Morant. Anytime I play this dude, he always sucks. I don't think I'm going to play him on this slate, but if they're going to keep giving him big minutes a night, we know the upside is there for John Morant. J-Val, though, I think is the guy that I do like the most. He, like I said, he had a huge game Monday night against the Pelicans. He would have had a better game, but he did get into some foul trouble. Only played 27 minutes, but still had 48 DraftKings points. We know J-Val's a very productive player when he's on the floor. The minutes have been up for him lately. He's been playing 30-plus minutes in competitive games. He would have played 30-plus minutes Monday had he not been in foul trouble. I think we get like 32, 34 minutes from J-Val here. I like the matchup without Porzingis. J-Val should definitely be able to dominate down low. He's my favorite play from Memphis. If Jaren Jackson Jr. winds up resting, I think that just makes me feel even better about J-Val. If Jaren Jackson Jr. winds up playing, I think he's actually someone we could consider. He's been starting recently, but they haven't really been playing him massive minutes. He only played 27 minutes on Monday night. It seems like they're going to keep him around 26 to 28 minutes, which definitely hurts him a little bit. But Jaren Jackson Jr. is a pretty productive player when he's on the floor. He does average over a fantasy point per minute. If he plays today, I think at 5,700, he's an okay option. But J-Val's my favorite play from Memphis. And outside of J-Val, I don't like too much else on this team. Maybe Triple J, but that's probably it. So next game, we got Brooklyn and Chicago. On Brooklyn today, we basically know, what to do with Brooklyn here. James Harden remains out, so Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving are two guys we could look to as pay-up options. I think both look pretty good here. Brooklyn, again, they're another team that I do believe is fighting for playoff position. They're running their starters big minutes. We've seen KD play at least 40 minutes in 3 of their last 4 games. He's been super productive in 3 of those 4 as well. Without Harden, we know KD and Kyrie are going to dominate the usage on this team. So I definitely like KD as a pay-up option. Right now, I would put Sabonis ahead of him, but I think KD firmly in play. Kyrie Irving as well if you want to go to. I like KD more than Kyrie, but I think Kyrie is definitely viable. We know Kyrie has a ton of upside as well. It seems like Durant's just been more consistent. His upside's been a little bit higher. We know Kyrie can pop off any night, but if I had to choose one of the big 2 from Brooklyn, I think it would be KD over Kyrie for me. But outside of those 2, I'm not playing any other Nets on this slate. Like, Blake Griffin started at center last game. He played 27 minutes, but Blake Griffin's just not a guy that I really like to play. He just doesn't have a ton of upside. He feels priced appropriately. I'm just not going to anyone else on Brooklyn outside of the top 2 guys, KD and Kyrie. So that does it for the Brooklyn side. Now in Chicago here, looking at the Bulls, it's a really good matchup for Vooch. I like to target centers against Brooklyn, but I don't think I can play Vooch on this slate when you have Sabonis, when you have Jokic, when you have Luka. Like, there's just other studs I'd rather get to. I know Vucevic has been playing really well lately. He's put up, 3 straight really good games, 56 DK points or more in 3 straight. I don't mind him, but again, I think there are some other studs I do prefer. Obviously, you can't just pay up for everybody. I want to try and, keep my pool somewhat limited. I don't just want to get up here and say that, every stud's in play. You do have to take some stands. I think Vucevic is probably going to be a guy that I don't play today. I would rather get to Sabonis. If I were to play Vucevic, I think it would be on Yahoo where he's more affordable. He's $41 over there, so if you do compare his price to other studs, like he's obviously a lot cheaper than Sabonis. He's a lot cheaper than Luka. I would definitely be more willing to play Vooch on Yahoo than I would on DK. Levine's kind of the same thing. I don't really like him on DK, but on Yahoo, he is very affordable. $33. I think Levine looks like a really good shooting guard option on Yahoo. So for me, it's really those guys like Vooch and Levine I like a lot more on Yahoo than I do on DK. But outside of that, I don't see too much else on Chicago. Daniel Tice was out last game and Thad Young started. He played 27 minutes but only had 19 DK points. I don't think I'm going to go to him on this slate. So yeah, that does it for this game. Next one, we got Orlando and Milwaukee. Now, on Orlando today, this remains a pretty short-handed team. They've got a lot of guys out right now, but they have signed some guys. Like, they signed Sindarius Thornwell. I'm pretty sure he's still with the team, so they have more bodies. I'm pretty sure they do have 10 bodies still. They did pick up Dante Hall as well, so I don't think this is going to be a team I really go too heavy on. They still have a ton of bodies. They have 10 guys. They've picked up players. Mo Bamba last game was a huge chalk bust. He got into some foul trouble, had a terrible game against Minnesota. The price tag is up. I don't think I'm going to play Mo Bamba on this slate. Even if Wendell Carter's out again, just don't think I can get there. Now that the price is up, now that we have such a big slate with so many other options, I really don't like any Magic today. RJ Hampton I've kind of been on lately, but at $6K on a big slate like this, I don't really like RJ Hampton that much. Overall, this Orlando team is just going to be a team I kind of avoid today. I don't really like much here. They have Dante Hall now. They have Thornwell. They can give minutes to. This team has 10 bodies, and if Wendell Carter plays, that just adds another body in. So Orlando is going to be a team I most likely avoid today. Milwaukee, I don't see too much I like on the Bucks either. Giannis, I'm usually a big fan of paying up for, but I'm worried about this. It's a back-to-back. They're facing a really bad Orlando team. Even if Giannis plays today, he could maybe see limited minutes. They got blown out by San Antonio on Monday night. Giannis only played 29 minutes. I'm very worried about Giannis here. I normally don't try and predict blowouts, but obviously there's just a lot of ways this could go wrong. I mean, if this game blows out, we know Giannis is going to play limited minutes. Even if he does play here on the back-to-back, like they could limit his minutes. We saw in their last game against Houston, like that was a close game. He still only played 29 minutes. Close game against the Wizards, he only played 30 minutes. Like they've been kind of cutting the minutes down on Giannis lately, which has me a bit worried. At 10,900, he's a lot riskier than some of these other studs. For example, like Sabonis, we know we're getting 38, 40 minutes from Sabonis if it's a close game. I don't know if we're going to get that from Giannis, which does make him a lot more riskier. If I were to play any Bucks today, it would be him. But overall, I think this is going to be a game that I probably just avoid today. Now, do keep an eye on the injury report because Milwaukee is on a back-to-back. I wouldn't be surprised if they rest Giannis here, if they rest some of their starters. Until we get that news, though, obviously I don't want to recommend anyone. So for now, assuming everyone plays on Milwaukee, you can maybe take a shot on Giannis, but I'm definitely not as confident in Giannis as I normally would be, just because the minutes have been a lot lower than we would like to see, which makes him much more riskier than some of these other studs that we know are getting 35-plus minutes. So next game, we got Phoenix and Golden State. Now, this is one I don't have a ton of interest in. It should be a great game to watch, but overall for DFS, I don't see too much I like here. Now, in Phoenix, it is a good matchup for them against the Warriors. It is a pace-up spot for these Suns guys. Devin Booker, Chris Paul should be pretty low owned on this slate, so if you want to play them in tournaments, I don't mind it. We know they both have plenty of upside. We've seen Booker and Paul can both go for 50 DK points any night, but am I going to be prioritizing them on this slate? I don't think so. DeAndre Ayton, I'm probably not going to go to. Overall, I don't like much from Phoenix. If you want to take shots on Booker and Paul in tournaments, I don't mind it, but not going to be playing too many Suns here. On the Warriors side, it's a back-to-back for the Warriors, but I don't think that's going to change anything. This Warriors team, they're fighting for playoff position. They're running a tight rotation right now. They're playing their starters big minutes, so we're going to get big minutes from all these Golden State guys if this game is close. The matchup against Phoenix, not great. It's a pace-down spot against the Suns who do play really, really slow. But, Steph Curry, we know, has a ton of upside. On this slate, am I going to play Steph? I don't think so. I think I'd rather play, Luka, Sabonis, who we talked about, Jokic, I really like. Don't think I'm going to get to Curry here, but, we know Steph can pop off and put up a big game any night. I normally never prioritize Steph when there's other studs that are available, and that's definitely the case today. If I were to play anyone on Golden State, I think it would be Draymond Green, 7,600. Draymond Green, he's having a pretty good game right now on Monday night as I'm recording this video. We'll have to see how he finishes. We know Draymond can put up a triple-double any night. We know he's going to get big minutes as well as long as this game stays close. So I think Draymond might be my favorite play from this game. But overall, this Phoenix Golden State game should be a great game to watch. But I don't think I'm going to be targeting too much here for DFS purposes. So next one, the Knicks and the Lakers. Another game that I don't have a ton of interest in for DFS purposes, but this should be another fun game to watch. The Lakers are fighting for their playoff position, so they're going to be playing their starters big minutes. The Knicks, I believe, are still fighting for playoff position as well, so they should be playing their starters big minutes. So like a Julius Randle in tournaments you can maybe go to. He's going to be low owned. We know we're going to get big minutes from Julius Randle. He's going to play nearly 40 minutes if this game is close. He did have a really big game against the Lakers earlier this year, put up 57 DK points in 38 minutes. But again, I don't think Randle is going to be a stud I prioritize when we have some of these other guys we've already talked about who I do prefer. But the price is coming down on Randle, which I do like. The matchup's not great, but we saw him have a ton of success against the Lakers earlier this season. If you want to play Randle today, I don't mind it. I personally don't think I'm going to get to him, but I think he's definitely viable at least. But outside of Randle, I don't think I'm going to be looking to any other Knicks. Derrick Rose had a really good game off the bench last game, put up 45 DK points in 32 minutes. Could you go to Derrick Rose? You could, but me personally, I don't think I'm going to play Derrick Rose with his price tag up, especially if Alec Burks plays. If Alec Burks plays, that does make me a bit worried about Rose, especially Quickly as well. Quickly's doubtful, so he should probably be out, but if Burks returns, I don't really like Derrick Rose that much. For me, on the Knicks, I think it's just Julius Randle, and that's probably it. Now, on the Lakers side, we do need to keep an eye on the status of LeBron. So LeBron, on the injury report, is currently listed as out, but we already did get a report from Woj that he is likely to play in this game Tuesday. They said if he doesn't play Tuesday, then he most likely will play in their next game, which I believe is on Wednesday. They play the Rockets on Wednesday, I think. So I'd assume LeBron plays here. Right now he's listed as out, but they could definitely change that and just take him off the injury report. So if LeBron does play, that basically takes me off of everyone on this Lakers team. Caruso, Kuzma, these guys would be out of play. Harrell, you're not going to play any Lakers today outside of maybe Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis did have a massive game last game against Phoenix. He played 41 minutes in regulation. this is something to note. This Lakers team, as I said, they're fighting for playoff position. Pretty sure right now they're going to, if the season were to end today, they would be in the play-in tournament, but they could definitely, if they do win enough games, I think they could make it, to where they don't have to be in the play-in tournament, which you don't want to be in, because obviously you just want to be in the playoffs. You don't want to have to play in that play-in tournament. So I think we're going to get like 38, 40 minutes from Anthony Davis. Obviously, if LeBron returns, that does hurt Anthony Davis a little bit, but we know Anthony Davis is a very high upside player. He's kind of looked like his old self these last 2 games. We've seen back-to-back massive games from AD. If he's going to play 40 minutes a night, I mean, the upside is definitely there for AD, even in a less than ideal matchup against the Knicks. I do like Anthony Davis today. If LeBron plays, it's a slight bump down, but I still think AD is viable. Now on Yahoo, I think that's where AD really stands out. He is definitely still underpriced there. He's been underpriced on Yahoo for a while now. Only $42 coming in, $6 less than Sabonis, $3 less than Julius Randle. He's a lot cheaper than guys like Luka and Giannis. I really like AD on Yahoo. I think even if LeBron's in, AD still looks like a top stud option over there. On DraftKings, though, if LeBron plays, that would definitely lower my interest in Davis, but would still be a viable tournament option. I just expect, with this Lakers team fighting for playoff position, I expect massive minutes for AD. If LeBron's good to go, I expect him to play pretty big minutes as well. So yeah, I think if I'm going to play any Lakers, it's going to be the studs, not really any of these other guys. We'll mention, though, if LeBron does miss again, if LeBron's out again, then you could go to Alex Caruso. Caruso did have a really good game last game. No LeBron and no Schroeder these last few games. I mean, we've gotten big minutes from Caruso. He'd only be viable, though, if LeBron sits, but it seems like LeBron's going to return here. So that does it for this game. Last one on the slate we'll talk about is OKC and Sacramento. So on OKC today, on a big slate like this, I'm just not playing any Thunder. I haven't played any Thunder for a while now, and this is just going to be a team I avoid. They're running a deep rotation. They're playing so many guys every night. Like, I want to see how many guys they played last game. I'm pretty sure these 2 teams did just play, I think, on Saturday. So let me check how many guys OKC played. Or they played Sunday, I do believe. So, yeah, they played on Sunday. It was a blowout. The Thunder got blown out. I mean, that's another thing. Like, this Thunder team is just getting blown out literally every night. But they played 10 guys last night. No one played more than 31 minutes. That was Gabriel Deck. He played the most minutes out of everyone. Like, I don't know. This Thunder team, they're just spreading out the minutes so much. Like, you're not getting massive minutes really from anyone. Maybe if the game is close, then you'll see more minutes for Baisley or more minutes for, like, some of the other guys. But I don't think I'm going to go to anyone at OKC. I will mention Ty Jerome, just because Theo Maledon is out. If Ty Jerome does play here, he's questionable. If he plays, I'd assume he would start at point guard. Ty Jerome has been, pretty productive when he does get minutes. So if Ty Jerome plays and he starts at point guard with Theo Maledon out, he would be the one guy I would like from OKC. But overall, I don't see too much that stands out from this team outside of Ty Jerome if he starts at point guard. That's probably it for the Thunder. Now on the Sacramento side, on DraftKings, I don't see a ton that stands out from Sacramento. These teams, like I said, they did just play on Sunday. It was a blowout, but Delon Wright was still productive. Obviously, he lost a lot of minutes due to blowout. He played 33 minutes, had 33 DK points. He was on pace to play around 40 minutes had the game stayed close. I think we do get around 40 minutes from Delon Wright today if this game is close. At 8,100, the price tag's really getting up there now, so he's not really like a priority or anything, but at least still viable. The one guy, though, that I think I like most from Sacramento is on Yahoo. Terence Davis remains really cheap on Yahoo. Only $13 at small forward. Small forward's already a pretty gross position, and Terence Davis, we've seen him play pretty big minutes these last 2 games. 32 minutes against San Antonio. Last game against OKC, he played 30 minutes, had 37 fantasy points. Terence Davis has always been a pretty productive player when he does get minutes, and with all these injuries, no Halliburton, no Fox, Buddy Hield, questionable, I do believe, or probable, so he's probable, but Harrison Barnes, I think, is doubtful. Yeah, he's doubtful. Like, this Sacramento team remains shorthanded. No Fox, no Halliburton. Barnes is doubtful. I think we're going to get around 25 to 30 minutes from Terence Davis off the bench, which makes him a pretty good play on Yahoo at $13. On DraftKings, you can maybe play him as well, but I have a feeling there's going to be better value to go to on Yahoo or on DK. But on Yahoo, I really like Terence Davis at that $13 salary. He looks like a really good value at the small forward position there. But that does it for all 11 games, guys. I think we broke everything down. Obviously, this is a very long video. I know I talked for a while. I tried to go as quick as I could, but I hope you guys did enjoy the video. I do appreciate you watching. If you did enjoy, hit that like button down below and hit that subscribe button as well. Also, be sure to click the notification bell so that way you do get notified every time I upload, and you also do get notified every time I live stream. And if you do really enjoy my YouTube content, you really enjoy the videos I put out on YouTube, you can check out my Patreon content. I do have additional stuff over there core plays, my favorite positions or favorite plays at each position, my full updated core plays, our Discord chat, like all that is available for Patreon members. If that is something that does interest you, you can check that out. Link down below in the description. But I think we've covered everything for this 11 game slate, guys. Appreciate you watching the video as always. Be sure to tune into the live stream on Tuesday afternoon. Hope to see you guys then. And yeah, best of luck on the slate. We'll see you in the next one, guys. Peace.